Let's talk some big questions for week 3 next on Fantasy Football Today in 5. Welcome to FFT in 5. I'm Chris Towers. I'm here with Heath Cummings. And Heath, we're going to start with some big questions for week 3. And I want to start with Cleveland's offense. We got Jerome Ford. By the time you're listening to this, those big fab bids will have gone through. And maybe as of Wednesday morning, we'll have found out how worthwhile they were, because they did bring in Kareem Hunt for a workout and a visit on Tuesday. We don't know whether he's going to sign as of Tuesday afternoon. Question 1, do you think Kareem Hunt is actually a threat for Jerome Ford? And 2, do you have much hope for this Cleveland offense based on what you've seen?
I have hope that Jerome Ford could be an RB2, and I don't think that Kareem Hunt would prevent him from doing that. I think Hunt provides a much higher baseline for the team, especially in pass protection. And he might be a threat to, like, it might turn out that something happens, one fumble or something, and all of a sudden Kareem Hunt's a threat in short yardage. So a slightly bigger threat. But I think if Jerome Ford does what Jerome Ford is capable of, Kareem Hunt's kind of aged out of that.
Do you have any hope for Deshaun Watson and the rest of this offense based on what we've seen?
Really.
I saw an AP headline just now that was like, questions raised after Deshaun Watson has second straight bad start. And it's like 2, 8, who's counting? I mean, he's been pretty dreadful since coming back from the suspension last year.
Yeah, I mean, I do think from what I've seen, there are still multiple throws per game, at least this year, where it's like, oh, there's Deshaun Watson. So just a tiny bit of hope, but I've mostly given up on the idea that he's going to be the guy that he was in Houston. I'm like hoping for 80% of that guy right now. I think Amari Cooper can be a borderline number 2 wide receiver. I don't have much hope for Elijah Moore, and David Njoku falls into that low end tight end 1 forever range. He'll score somewhere around 9 points a game probably, but no, I don't. Like, the hopes that we had at the beginning of the season for this offense are mostly gone for me.
Well, we'll move on to another tight end in that hope for 9 points range. And unfortunately, that's Kyle Pitts. Yet again, here we are. The Falcons actually did throw the ball 32 times last week, but I don't actually view that as a positive, seeing as they threw the ball 14 times on 42 plays in the second half, despite trailing for all but the final 57 seconds. Is Kyle Pitts just a touchdown or bust low-end tight end 1?
Yeah, he is. I think as long as Arthur Smith's there, he will be. At the same time, and I just finished writing about this, I'm still not going to bench. I'm going to rank Hunter Henry ahead of Kyle Pitts, but if it's my team and I've got Kyle Pitts, I'm not going to make a roster move to add Hunter Henry to start over Kyle Pitts. I'm just going to keep starting him, and hopefully he'll score 5 touchdowns, and I'll enjoy those games.
Yeah, the only guy who probably wasn't drafted who I'm ranking above Kyle Pitts this week is Sam Laporta. So Pitts is like tight end 10 or 11 for me, but yeah, it's pretty dreadful. Do you have any hope for Drake London, or is it kind of just the same thing?
I've got a little bit of hope for Drake London. I do think that, and the total number of plays and the total number of passes are going to normalize a little bit more. I think Ritter probably averages 28-ish, 29 pass attempts the rest of the way. And so that a little bit of hope for both those guys, but it's lower expectations again.
All right. What are your expectations for DeAndre Swift? Is he a must start running back in week 3 and beyond?
If there's no Kenneth Gainwell, then yeah, I think he's maybe going to be a top 5 running back. If Kenneth Gainwell's back, that's going to be gut check time, because it's
so hard to figure out.
My gut assumption is that Kenneth Gainwell is going to be the lead running back if he's healthy. Maybe just for one game, but I don't think they're going to rip it away from him, because they really do value some of the stuff that he does. So I'll probably rank Swift as a low end number 2 and Gainwell as a high end flex if they're both back. But that'll be one of the most interesting things about week 3.
At the very least, I feel pretty confident that DeAndre Swift is going to get more than 1 carry.
Yes.
Like he did in week 1. But yeah, I'm unsure whether he's going to be the RB1 moving forward. I think he's got a pretty good chance, maybe not in week 3. Maybe they give Gainwell the benefit of the doubt after the injury if he's back. But I agree with what you said. And last one, Do you expect week 3 to be when we start to see more of Breece Hall? We got the squeaky wheel potential. He was complaining, said, well, I'll tell you why we lost. I only had 4 touches in week 2. Do you think that's the impetus to get him more involved?
I don't know, because I don't think this is a choice that they're making that they don't want Breece Hall involved. I think they've got a plan that they're following. And I think we all were pretty surprised by how involved he was in week 1. They pulled back on that a little bit in week 2, but surely he knows that it's not because they don't think he's good. I think they're trying to protect him. I would expect he's going to touch the ball between 10 and 13 times in week 3. He's good enough that he might take one of those to the house, but he's more of a flex for me.
DeAndre Swift ahead of him?
In, I think, all circumstances, yeah.
Jerome Ford ahead of him?
Yep.
Okay. That's going to do it for FFT and 5. We'll be back tomorrow to talk more starts and sits. We'll see you then.